In the background of the recent release of Dune Spice Wars, a very interesting project has shown up on Steam and I'm not sure what to think of it. It is a game which looks and even plays just like Dune 2000. That was one of the games with which Westwood Studios basically cemented the look and feel of the modern RTS genre by actually making a modernized remake of Dune II, another of their landmark RTS games, and from all the way back in 1992. But now in 2022, a development studio called Glyph Worlds, previously responsible for Ways of History and War Selection, has posted a Steam store page for Barkhan, and they have even a release date set for 9th February 2023. My name is Peter, and I want you to watch this trailer in peace before I give you my peace of mind about this whole situation. Now, I am not the only person to notice some striking resemblances to previous Dune games and Dune 2000 in particular, especially when it comes to unit models, but also gameplay and even in its description, because as you can read from the game's store page, Barkhan is a real-time strategy in a brutal war between three great houses of power on a sandy planet. Great houses obviously being Atreides, Harkonnen and possibly non-canon Ordos. You will build a base, harvest rare minerals and train a variety of troops. Rare minerals being basically the spice. Be prepared to resist the onslaught of giant sandworms and find riddles lurking in the Barkhans. Sandworms? I mean, should I even comment? How many franchises or stories do you know which have giant sandworms on a desert planet? No, sorry, not a desert planet, a sandy planet. Then they continue and tell us about their versions of the three great houses just with different names. Each of the great houses has its own characteristics. The House of Power relies on the power of its heavy armored vehicles. The House of Will relies on speed and precision, making them deadly opponents. The House of Trickery relies on high-tech solutions, plasma weapons, aviation, combat drones and stealth technology. The description of these units matches what is shown in the trailer and gameplay footage, but again, it is about the same we had in Dune 2000. Even the defensive towers and the concrete foundations for base buildings are absolutely the same. The thing is, there is already a fan-made remake of the remake that is Dune 2000 in the open source project called OpenRA. These folks have recreated and modernized other classic real-time strategy games from Westwood Studios, like Red Alert and Command & Conquer. They have native support for modern operating systems, even Windows 10, Mac OS and Linux, as well as high screen resolutions and integrated online multiplayer. And they never charged anything and anyone can play and contribute. I will leave a link to their website in the description below. But back to the game at hand, Barkhan. From what the gameplay shows us, the interface is taken directly from CNC games with little to no artistic freedom. Every element is the same, down to the power bar on the edge of the minimap. The trailer and gameplay footage don't show any sort of storytelling elements. This like actual characters, a story, or let alone live action cinematics with real actors, a thing that made Westwood's games instantly recognizable, and something I was personally hooked on back in my Sony PlayStation days of playing Red Alert and later in all other CNC games.
That camera's still running?
Sure, there are other games which use this feature, like Act of War and lately Age of Empires 4 in its own way, while outside RTS games we had Wing Commander, Mech Commander, Quantum Break and a few others. But I digress too much now. If we go by War Selection, this developer's currently active free-to-play game with all the hallmarks of a pay-to-win system, this new game could be the same. Or they could surprise us with a totally different idea. That is yet to be seen. The especially questionable thing is, can they even keep this project up in a storefront like Steam? Will they try to sell the game or just monetize elements inside it and try to avoid directly profiting from the corpse of Westwood Studios, which was taken to the back of the farm and disposed of in the Electronic Arts' usual manner? Additional red flags are no official Twitter, website, no Discord, or contact possible with the developers. War Selection, on the other hand, has all these available. People have posted multiple topics about the game on Steam and off Steam, and not one has seen an answer from the developers. My first thoughts were that this project is simply going to be shut down by a cease and desist letter from EA's or Funcom's lawyers, depending on who has the Dune license for making games and in what form right now. This is all a bit complicated and I am not a lawyer, but I have seen and read about enough projects for the last 25 years which have been shut down due to heavy usage of copyright material or other people's works. In any case, this isn't how you go about making a game inspired by some older game. For example, you have a global configuration by the developers at Midwood, whose game is clearly inspired by RTS and RTT fan favorites like CNC Generals, Dune and World in Conflict, but they go about making something new without ripping off any franchise. Then there is another indie project, Commanding Nations, from 7 Volt Games, and just like the previous one, it is doing its own thing while pulling inspiration from all the classics and a few modern RTS games. Yet another is Dustfront by RTS Diamond, a one-person's passion project of making a fast RTS in a dieselpunk-like universe, and while it proudly takes inspiration from Red Alert and Dawn of War, it has its own unique look and lore. I could go on with Sanctuary, Beyond All Reason, Project Titan Infiltration, Ephemeris, Era 1, Ardent Seas, Dawn of Empires, just off the top of my head. But you get the point, and maybe even remember them from my older videos in which I covered them. Link up here and below if you haven't seen them. And I am sure you yourselves have come across similar projects by passionate individuals or small teams who might be inspired by fan favorite RTS and RTT games, but have created their own stories, gameplay and entire lore. Do feel free to mention them in the comments for everyone to see. That is the correct way you go about making games like these. Or as I mentioned previously, you go open source and keep everything free for your community of like-minded fans who will support you, even financially, to keep servers running at least. Now, you might consider this just a long-winded rant and the developers of Barkhan just another indie development team who are trying to bring back a fan-favorite game and in full 3D glory. But I am not convinced it is all rainbows and unicorns in this case. You can tell me your thoughts in the comments and I will happily continue to monitor and discuss this project with you. The cards on the screen will let you see more of my videos and I want to thank you for watching this one as well as to wish you happy gaming.